Hey guys, I'm Jayce. Welcome back to Farmstead Forge. Today we're going to go over two of the most important basic steps if you are just beginning your blacksmith career that you really need to know, especially before you try making any more tongs. A lot of my tong videos, I don't go over these too much because I'm kind of far removed from the very beginner stage and I forget about that kind of thing. We're gonna cover upsetting and drawing out. So if you're a veteran, you can just keep on scrolling, but if you're just starting out, this is something you really need to know. I recently had somebody comment and say I shouldn't be using a power hammer to draw out my reins in a beginner's tutorial. And they were probably right. However, when I was first starting out, drawing out was not an issue I had trouble with. That was easy to figure out for me. It was all my other steps that I really had trouble. But today we're going to cover upsetting and drawing out just on the anvil. So if you're having trouble with that, you can maybe learn something and maybe it will teach me a few things of what I forgot. I'm also a big believer that there's two mindsets in this world. There's the I can't have that, or I can't do that because I don't have a power hammer, or there's the how can I have that. That also, I am a big believer with that with finances. There's the I can't ever afford that, and there's the how can I afford that. And honestly, if you always say how can I do that, you can always think outside the box and figure out how to get it. Always have a positive mindset on how can I get that, and not the other way around of, oh, I can't get that because I don't have this or I don't have that. I made 100 tongs before I ever built a power hammer, but mostly it was because I was tired of drawing reins out by hand. Yes, you can jump weld them, it takes time and all that. So I thought, how can I get tongs faster? And that was to spend some money and build my own power hammer so I could do it faster. So today, let's do it by hand, and we're gonna show you how to draw out and upset. Okay, so this is round stock. I find that I can control my steel a lot better if I first square it up. So I'm just gonna use my flat side. Get a nice square. It's always easier to forge it square, and then later, once you have it nice and square, if you want it round, you just knock your corners off octagon and that will get you your round back. Now, it's a lot of guys will take a rounded side of their hammer on the rounded part of their horn and draw it out that way. It's got smashing it from both sides and really goes out. I found when I was a beginner, I felt like my steel was always going out of control on me like that. So if you're just starting, you can use the round side on the flat part of your hammer if you feel like, or on your flat base of your anvil, if you feel like it's going out of control. You know, I'm a control freak, so I kind of want to have my steel under control at all times. The other thing you can do to speed it up is you can use the edge of your anvil to stretch it out and then come down here and clean it up. Another way to do it, I don't like abusing my edges like that. I like to keep them nice and crisp for doing steps on tongs. And something you should consider if you have a newer anvil with crisp edges is rounding off a corner somewhere. And that would give you it's a nice little round edge for doing stuff. It's also a nice spot that would really push your steel too. A lot of blacksmiths have it on this side, I believe. I'm a farrier, I have it on this side, so when I'm doing a trailer on a heel, I can tip it down. But just find a spot that maybe you want to sacrifice a rounded edge that you think you might use a lot, and do that. Some guys do specialty work, they have one whole side gone. Maybe you have an old anvil that has had the life beat out of it and it just has a spot that is pretty tough shape. Maybe you want to just carefully clean up a spot that you can do that. So we're going to heat this back up and we're going to do two different methods of drawing it out. Alright, so first up, You want to be striking right in the center of your horn. Want to get a little more, we're going to come out here where it's skinny. Yay, 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 loud. That's another reason I don't draw it on the horn. You also want to do overlapping hammer blows. So, and when you start cleaning it up, you hit here, and then you're only hitting half back, half back. And of course, if you're hitting the same place, it's going to keep it pretty much the same width. So if you want to taper, you're just going to have to work the end more than up here. Now I'm starting to get it kind of octagon a little bit, more of a diamond shape, because my steel's wanting to push. So to correct that, I'm going to come in here corner to corner. And square that back up. See it, squared it back up. That's what I had a lot of trouble with, even with the power hammer when I was first starting, is that if you're not hitting it straight on, it's wanting to squirt one way. And pretty quick, you're not square anymore, and it gets out of control on you. And if you want to round it back up, you just start knocking the corners off, and you'll get it round again. All right, we'll cover the next way to draw out. I'm going to leave the end out because I'm going to show you how to spread in a minute, but we're going to start here. Tongs can grab. Why the rounded side over here would be a little nicer. It doesn't mar your steel up. If you get too deep, you'll start getting cold shuts in there. then as you get where you want it, you just gotta clean up all your hammer marks. Use the flat side, or you use the round side to start, and then you can use the flat side. This hammer's got such a flat side, it marks it up, so. Now I didn't do a super pretty job because I was just making a quick video. You can see my dings in there. All that can be cleaned up. Now another important step is spreading material. So I'm going to show you how we can do that with this end that I've left. For spreading, I'm going to flatten it down, take my cross peen, whichever way, especially this is small so it doesn't matter, but if you're working with big material, whichever way is more natural for you to spread it, you want to do the opposite, because the easiest way is going to be better to do at a cold temperature as it cools off. The harder way is going to be easier to do while it's hot. If you want to just clean that up, you can flip your hammer over and dress it up. If you want the rough hammered look, then leave it like that. So you can see how much material I moved by using the edge of my anvil. Yeah, I didn't do a pretty job. There's marks. I was just doing it to do it. So this side, whoops. Yep, everybody does it. Everybody drops their stuff on the ground. Especially when your tongs aren't sized for where it's drawn out. So you can see this side's going down. I had much more control doing it over the horn or doing it on there. But like I said, I am a little out of practice doing the edge. I haven't drawn out like that in a long time. All right, for upsetting, we're doing the opposite, drawing out. I want to pack a bunch more steel into a certain place where I might need it. If you want to upset the end, you would heat it up, quench down to where you want to upset that end. I'm not going to upset the end today. I'm going to upset the middle as I would on a set of tongs to upset a boss. These are an easy tong to build for beginners. If you haven't seen that video, we'll post a link for that. Really easy. Kind of a horrible video because it's my first video, but it teaches you how to build them. So we're going to heat this up, upset this. Just so I know where I want to upset and quench to, I'm going to make a couple marks on my anvil. Just to keep track when I come out of the fire. Quench one end down. Quench my other end down. Every now and then you have to fix it. It's gonna bulge out on you. Starting to get it to spread, more material packed in where I want. That takes, 2 or 3 heats to achieve my goal. see how much steel I packed into that little area. It's a very handy trick to know, just if you have a smaller piece of stock but you need some on the end or in the middle, maybe you want to punch a hole through there. It's just a very important step to know. Okay guys, I hope this little video helped out. It's just basic stuff, but sometimes you always learn something off of everything, even if it's how not to do something, which you may have learned that today too. Just some basic upsetting, drawing out, spreading, very simple stuff. If you see me putting my thumb on my hammer handle, don't do that. It's a very bad habit that's been over a decade in the making. I also have an old textbook that teaches you to do that for hammer control. So I'm trying to not do that anymore. It I guess causes nerve damage, and nobody needs any more of that. So I also thought I would show you some of the basic tongs that I first started making. These are some offset reins ones. These were built with no power hammer. As you can tell, they're pretty hideous. They're beat up and they're not straight at all. I don't know what I was doing when I made those. The reins are really big and clunky and hard to hold on to. So those will probably get given to somebody else someday, and I'll build me some better sets, but sometimes when they're sized and still work, they work. But it just goes to show you, you can do anything you want without a power hammer. Just might take you an extra day. Or maybe you need to get your neighbor down the street that never stops talking about his fantasy football league and get him to run a sledgehammer for you. That would make things go faster too. So these are some 90-degree scroll tongs that I made. I have got a video on these, and these came out really nice. So it just takes time, and you can achieve any goal you want as long as you put your mind to it. Until next time guys, I hope it helped. If you liked the video, hit like. If you aren't subscribed, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.